everyone. I'm Jensen Denoyes here for a new and exciting episode of Hero in You.
And I'm Maritsa Barros. Hero in You is an educational program that focuses on self-growth and self-empowerment. The purpose of our show is to discuss a topic connected to a comic book issue and see how it relates to our lives so you can
find the hero in you.
That's right. Today's topic is on taking initiative. Victor Hugo, author of Les Miserables and Hunchback of Notre Dame, once said, "Initiative is doing the right thing without being told." Taking initiative means taking action on the problems, the challenges, and the opportunities that you discover or create. In addition, you will learn to step out of your comfort zone and accomplish the goals that you're passionate about through the 3 Ds: desire, dedication, and discipline.
The city of Brockton in Plymouth County has been through many changes. Part of the changes that have taken place include people taking the initiative not only to be citizens, but also to be leaders for change. Brockton has gone through many changes, from being the shoe capital of the world to champion Rocky Marciano and one of the largest high schools in America. One of the things that make the city unique is people who strive to create change.
Speaking of initiative, Jensen had the honor of sitting down to do an interview with the newly elected mayor of Brockton, Mayor Bill Carpenter. After hearing the conversation, it becomes clear the city of Brockton needed a carpenter. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, indeed. It's not just one person that can make a difference in our community, but it's also all the people in the community that can make a difference.
In fact, it takes a strong leader.
Well, let's hear what the mayor has to say about taking an initiative in his vision for this great city in Plymouth County.
Well, I guess in terms of taking an initiative, a lot of what we're trying to do as mayor, it's all initiatives. We ran on a campaign platform of initiatives, and now that we're here, it's up to us to follow through on those initiatives. So, you know, my initiatives here as the mayor really are built around bringing safe neighborhoods back to the city, creating jobs, creating wealth, and changing the perception of the city of Brockton, because I, like all of us, get very frustrated from when I hear people from outside the city who have a perception of Brockton that's really not true. So, I mean, those are my major challenges, initiatives now. I mean, over the years, I guess we all have initiatives. I guess one that I worked on in recent years was helping to get a what's called a recovery school started, a small independent alternative school for teenagers battling drug and alcohol addiction. That's something that was very important to me because in my life, one of my kids had run into this. I realized the importance of teenagers that are trying to get away from drug and alcohol abuse, and the fact that they need a safe and sober place to go to school and get extra supports and get their education back on track. So because of my own personal experience, I ran for school committee, worked on trying to create one of these schools, and with the help of a lot of other folks, was able to get a school called Independence Academy established and opened about 1.5 years ago, and now that school is open and it's helping young people. So I think a lot of great people worked on putting together the design of that school. A lot of people helped us get the funding started from the state. But I think I'm probably the person who took the initiative, who pushed other people to say that this is something that we need, that there's a desperate need for this in southeastern Massachusetts. And I think if you have a good initiative, you can get other people on board on the team to help you make it a reality. I hope that we can get really going over the next 2 years is neighborhood associations. I need people to get back reconnected in their neighborhoods. I need to get folks, the residents, coming out of their houses back into the neighborhoods. And you know, over the years we've had crime watch groups and things like that, but that's just strictly focused on people that are reporting crimes. I want true neighborhood associations where the neighbors get to know each other again, and this neighborhood associations would address all issues that affect the neighborhood. So it could be a park, a playground, a street light out, people speeding down the street, a vacant abandoned house on the street that's causing problems, some graffiti. There's all kinds of issues that affect the neighborhoods in the city. But you know, I can't fix it all myself. City government cannot fix it all ourselves. We can certainly bring resources and direction and help, but I need to convince the folks who live in the neighborhoods to help me get some of these neighborhoods turned around. And I hope we can do that by creating neighborhood associations. And you know, I'm hoping in my first year here we can help get 4, 5, or 6 neighborhood associations organized and started. And yeah, with an eye towards reducing crime and getting drug dealers and guns out of the neighborhoods. But that's just the start. Getting neighbors to all work together, have a stake in their neighborhood to improve the quality of life for the folks that live in that neighborhood. I think the neighborhood associations could be huge in terms of quality of life in the city. I want to have these neighborhood associations help us reclaim open spaces in the city. You know, we've got a lot of parks and playgrounds that have really been neglected in recent years, and I think we've lost control of a lot of them to the gangs and the drug dealers. And so, you know, I don't want to live in a city where a family feels uncomfortable, doesn't want to go down and use the park or the playground at the end of the street or the next block over. I want to reclaim those parks and playgrounds. I don't want families to go down there and find graffiti and used needles and all kinds of other things they don't need to be looking at. I want them to find a clean, safe playground that whether it's you know, kids playing ball, soccer, families coming down to use a playground. We need to reclaim those open spaces in the city, and I believe by doing that, it's going to dramatically improve the quality of life here in the city.
One of the key things on making a community safe is by creating activities and job opportunities. Wouldn't you agree, Maritsa?
Yes, I am absolutely excited about what I've just heard, being a native of Brockton, being a graduate of this great high school in Brockton. You know, there were certain things that really stood out to me, and I'd like for us to just take a few minutes to talk about it.
Sure thing.
First of all, the perception. An initiative of Mayor Carpenter is to change the perception of Brockton. And as he spoke about going outside of the city and hearing certain things that people think about Brockton, I feel the same way and I experience the same things. But like Mayor Carpenter, I know the heart of this city, and I know we are full of champions in this city.
Absolutely.
And I really would like to be a part of that charge to start changing this perception.
Absolutely. And one thing that really caught my attention was the fact that not only does he see the good in the city, but he also sees the good in the youth, that he actually built a school, Independence Academy. I think that was really interesting, that his story with his son, and he felt that there was a need for a school to give special support for the youth. And by doing so, this is a great way to bring leverage and bring foundation for these children's future. And he sees that education is very crucial and very critical. But in order for him to do so, he had to take the initiative. By taking the initiative, he was able to attract many people to assist him and support him. And I think this is another great example of taking initiative, is once you take that first step, you're able to form a movement for positive improvement.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's clear that he believes the true notion that the youth will grow, the youth will change.
Right.
And we have to believe in our youth, and we have to give them positive activities and positive environments in order for them to engage and grow to taking these initiatives. So what's amazing, I would think, from his perspective, is to see the very initiatives he's taken to kind of have this trickling effect of encouraging the youth and other people in the community to take initiative themselves.
Speaking of community, I like the fact that he mentioned that he wants to see neighborhoods associate with each other, neighborhood association. I totally agree, because
Absolutely.
There's many people who live in the communities, but they don't know each other. And I think by getting to know each other, there's some form of camaraderie that can be built, and it helps the environment, helps the community, and also helps people to discover the common goal and common grounds that can be fulfilled. And I feel like this is very needed, and the more neighborhood associations we have, the more understandings we can have with our environment.
Absolutely. And I think it's key to mention that, you know, he's not talking about your everyday neighborhood,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
neighborhood group. He's really talking about folks going beyond just reporting crime and really owning their neighborhoods in the sense of building relationships, getting to know the person who lives next to you. I mean, you only share a fence or share some green space. You know, getting to know each other beyond just the address that you hold. But the neighborhood parks, you know, especially depending on which side of Brockton you're on, there are certain parks that some folks just simply do not feel safe anymore. And I'm really excited and proud to see the turnaround that's already happening. So folks, let's take the initiative and build these neighborhood watch programs in which we can come together and reclaim our parks and reclaim our communities. The initiatives that you take within your own environment will only benefit the entire community. So if that's not a great initiative to take on, I'm not sure what else.
Other initiative is to help our youth with the education, just like Bill Carpenter, seeing that education is a priority by supporting the school Independence Academy. If you have a student or a child who needs special support, join an Independence Academy.
Absolutely, it's some great ways to get involved.
Absolutely.
And clearly, Mayor Carpenter wants very much to improve the city in which he serves. A lot of his initiatives are in relations to public safety, the education of the youth. All around our county, students are being proactive. Let's take a peek at the students of Pembroke High School. These students are members of the National Honor Society, and they're taking us through their initiatives within their own communities.
I think it's taking responsibility where otherwise it's lacking.
I associate the word initiative with the word action because so many people talk about wanting to do good things for the school or for the community, but the people who really take initiative and are the leaders in our society are those who take action.
You need to display good character and service. So with service, a student can take part in all the events that we display and hold in our community.
Taking initiative really goes hand in hand with leadership because to be a leader, you have to be the first one to do something. You have to be the person that everyone looks up to.
Having a strong will to take initiative is something that comes very naturally, and it has to be genuine. And I think that's very important as we step on into our future after leaving high school.
We've heard what the youth are doing to take initiative in the community. Now let's talk about how you can take initiative with something as simple as an iPhone.
Yes, I can see that. With an iPhone, you can start by recording a small clip and then evolving your ideas into a film with an actual camera.
Right.
Well, that's a great example because filmmakers Rui Lopes of 1975 Productions and Miguel Antonio of Mona Afro Films, who share with us how they're taking initiatives and breaking ground as independent filmmakers right here in the Plymouth County. Here's what they had to say.
Taking initiative is finding something in life, whether it's in life, career, relationship, whatever it is, finding what it is that you love about that specific thing, and then taking that first step to make that a reality.
What does it mean to take initiative as a film producer is taking the first steps. No matter what, no matter what's going on, no matter who is holding you back, taking the first steps. I'm going to tell you, as far as what does it look like, I don't know, to me it's just one of those feelings. It looks like a spaceship taking off to space. And we never know what we're going to encounter. We never know if we actually going to make it to whatever we want to make it. We just are taking off at full speed. What does it feel like? Oh, that's a good question. It feels like Superman. You know, that's one of those things. Like, you know, once again, I don't know what I'm going to go ahead and solve, but I'm Superman. I'm taking off. I'm going to go to a rescue. That's how it feels like.
As a filmmaker, I think that what's important is pretty much what's over here behind me. So it's again knowing what you want, and then whatever it is that you need to do. For example, my mentor, who's part of the group that I work with, he had a job and then he quit that job. That's a job that supplied, you know, mortgage for the house, and he quit that job because he took the initiative to build a career. So he went, this camera over here, it's over $8,000. That's a car right there. That's a mortgage. But he took that step to do what he wanted to do in his life, and which is one of the reasons why I call him mentor, because he did things that I've been doing since I started, like, you know, just taking that step. So I feel like as a filmmaker, initiative is just, you know, knowing, you know, what's out there and what you can gravitate towards, what you can get or what you can harbor to be able to make your career more successful.
I think they are both two great examples
Absolutely.
of how we can take something from nothing
Right.
and make it into something grand.
Extraordinary.
Right?
Exactly.
Building our own doors of opportunities.
Exactly.
And, you know, sketching our own blueprints. I mean, they are doing that. They're living their passions. But how do they do that? Before they experience this feeling of Superman and soaring, right?
Yeah.
They had to figure out what is it that they wanted to do.
Exactly.
So Rui points out that you have to discover your passion, right? So you have to dig a little deeper. Let's forget about what's the popular show out. Everybody wants to be in CSI because
Right.
of the shows and things of that sort. Figure out what's passionate for you. And once you figure that out, Rui advises to actually figure out what are the steps you're going to need to take to get to those goals. So those initiatives that he's talking about are very purposeful, which I thought was very interesting. The other key point is once you've discovered that, it brings to the point that Miguel brought up, that no matter what, no matter who, you have to get it done and take that first step.
Exactly.
Once you take that first step, then you're well on your way to that spaceship. But without taking that first step beyond the obstacles, beyond the challenges that we may face naturally in our lives, we'll never get to that point where we can feel this sense of rewards that come from taking initiatives.
But in order for you to feel that sense of rewards, sometimes it may need help.
Absolutely.
And inspiration from a mentor. And I was very amazed with Rui's example, his story of his mentor, how he had to take the initiative to do something that was very unconventional, but to create something that was astonishing.
Right.
And what my takeaway from this is the fact that mentorship is very important, it's very vital.
Crucial.
And to understand that with me, with Rui, because he had a mentor, he was able to lift his horizon up, to think outside the box, to think big, to see the big picture.
Yeah.
And our takeaway from this is that, you know, as adults, we should be mentors to the youth, to understand that, to leverage them, to understand that their future is really important, and to know that we're there to support them, whether it's education or whether it's their talents or their abilities. But by being a great mentor, we're able to build that future with endless great possibilities just by taking initiative.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big aha moment
Exactly,
if you're
it was.
looking for one, right? Being a mentor to the youth is great, but I think hearing Rui say that just solidifies the fact that as adults,
Yes.
we too need and can use mentorship.
Exactly.
Right? Every true leader has a mentor. I'm sure even Bill Carpenter has a mentor today.
Yeah, exactly.
So just keep that in mind, because as you're taking steps and taking initiatives, you want to be sure that you're being purposeful and you're moving in the right direction. And having a mentor to guide you in that sense is absolutely key to your success.
I totally agree, Maritsa. Now that we talked about what our guests have shared about taking initiative, let's hear what they have to say at our social that we had at Panera Bread. Let's play the clip.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
The 3 most important words when coming to like being a musician: desire, discipline, and dedication. I think those are the really important.
Just can't have someone, a procrastinator, someone who's lazy, just say, oh yeah, I want to do that later in life. And really, like, if you're gonna wait till the last second or just not even take that first step initiative, then I mean, you're not gonna follow through.
I think the person really needs to be optimistic. True. Because once you take that initiative, you have to keep going, and you can't stop.
The initiative, it needs some kind of an origin, and that's the inspiration, that's the spark. It's like, that's it, I have it.
Give a snap of that sweet.
Sounds good, yeah.
Snap to the beat.
You need to follow through with what you want. You just can't sit back and watch other people pass you. There's always somebody behind you trying to beat you. And so you
can't expect everything at once. You have to work towards it, and then you'll accomplish things one by one, piece by piece, and then eventually you'll be doing that completely. So you just have to keep working with it, stick with it, and just be determined.
Discipline, desire,
Dedication.
and dedication.
Discipline, desire, and dedication.
The 3Ds. 3D, baby.
That was a really awesome social at Panera Bread. We had a great time.
It was really great. It was a pleasure to meet all of our attendees.
Right, it was really awesome. One thing that caught my attention was Mercedes when she mentioned the 3Ds. Desire, dedication, and discipline. When I thought of desire, the first thing that came to my mind, Maritsa, was the fact that you have a passion, you have a goal, and you have a dream, but making sure that you make sure that it gets fulfilled. And I thought that was really good. But at the same time, you got dedication. You taking that first step, being proactive and making sure that you're able to follow up. And we learned that from Bill Carpenter. He didn't become mayor overnight. He was an entrepreneur, and then he decided that there was a need in the Board of Education. So he was part of the Board of Education. Then he decided to build his own school, Independence Academy. And then finally, he decided to become mayor. All it comes down to, he took steps, one step at a time, and it just shows you that Rome wasn't built overnight. It takes time. And then finally, discipline. You can have the desire and the dedication, but if you have no discipline, no structure, it defeats the purpose. And by understanding that you have discipline, you shows that you're able to have consistency to when you wake up in the morning to know that you have a goal, but you have to constantly practice your objective and making sure that your goal is met.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, that moment at the social was a definite tweetable moment. We can tweet that moment.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was a great way for us to bring full circle what we've already learned in this particular episode.
Right.
I think throughout our interviews and throughout this episode, you've heard a lot of common themes.
Right.
And the 3Ds really, I think, brings it, again, like, as I said, full circle. The reason for that is we've been talking about passion and having a desire to do something. So when you've discovered that passion, there goes your desire right there. We've also talked about taking that first step, being determined, and figuring out what's the reason behind that passion. What's that why factor that's going to keep you going through the obstacles, through the challenges, and through each day. And then finally, it's the discipline. We've heard that from the students in Pembroke. We heard it from Rui and Miguel. You must have the willpower to continue moving beyond any challenges, no matter what and no matter who, right? So I think the 3Ds were a great way to round up this particular session.
Exactly.
We had great examples of some literal initiatives through our interview with Mayor Bill Carpenter. And then we talked about the indirect ways in which folks are taking initiatives in their own lives to start developing things from total scratch, or taking an idea and developing it into an even greater project or goal that a person has in place. So the 3Ds, I think it's a great mantra for all of us to keep in mind: desire, dedication, and discipline.
Overall, we now clearly understand the importance of taking initiative. The final example this television program wants to present is coming from comic book issue number 29 of Wolverine and the X-Men. Victor Hugo, author of Les Miserables, has a quote that relates to the comic book issue, which says, quote, "Initiative is doing the right thing without being told." In this issue, Wolverine had assembled the mutant faculty, staff, and even students of the School of Jean Grey Institute of High Learning just to give a heartfelt speech. Now, understandably, all of the mutants that inhabit the school were already feeling depressed, discouraged, and unmotivated with the memory of Professor Xavier's passing and many other tribulations. However, Wolverine made the difficult decision to keep the school alive and continue to be the headmaster. He knew that taking initiative is doing the right thing without being told. With the late Professor Xavier now being his inspiration, Wolverine took the initiative to let everyone know that there's a desperate need for young mutants to find a safe place to go to school and get extra support for their special abilities by saying, quote, "It's worth it all just to be here." By having a strong initiative, Wolverine was also able to get other people on board as a team to make it a reality to keep the dream of Professor Xavier, his mentor, alive. If Wolverine took the initiative to build a school for his community, just like Mayor Bill Carpenter did, you can also take the initiative to help your community. Whether it's cleaning your neighborhood or being a good mentor to inspire others, take the initiative to be proud of your community. Mm-hmm. Now that's how you find the hero in you. If you want to share how you're taking the initiative in your community, please follow us on Twitter at HeroInYou and check out our website, www.heroinu.com, and also like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thehero-in-you.
I'm Maritsa Barros.
And I'm Jensen Denoyes, here for a new and exciting episode of Hero in You. And yes,
you can find the hero in you.